My next guest is Congressman Patrick McHenry, a Republican from North Carolina who serves as the ranking member on the House Financial Services Committee. Welcome.
Great to be with you.
So, Congressman, I want to jump right into it. What are the top economic concerns that you're hearing from your constituents right now?
The cost of goods, the availability of goods, price of gas at the pumps. Those things are really the driving force of the discussions I have at home in North Carolina and when I travel across the country. People are concerned about rising prices and inflation, and they've got different markers of what they're concerned about, of specifically what they're concerned about. But it's rising prices generally, and the impact that this administration has had on increasing inflation and their inability to actually tackle the issue and bring relief to the American people.
So what should the White House and Congress be doing to fight this inflation?
Sound money. That means a dollar saved today should be a dollar saved tomorrow. And a return to fiscal conservatism. This government spent more in the last 2 years than in any period in American history. And so we need to rein in federal spending. We also need to work to ensure that we match the workforce with the jobs that are available and the needs of employers. We have a workforce, we have 5.5 million folks looking for 11 million open jobs. So we have to make sure that the skills are matched with the availability of jobs in the marketplace. And we need to make sure that we tackle these issues in a bipartisan way to bring our the availability of workers matched with the available jobs, and at the same time making sure that we bring our supply chain closer to home and with our trusted allies. And I think we can do that. This administration has yet to put forward a serious proposal to do this, but I think that's necessary work of the next Congress.
And speaking of that, there's a pretty solid chance, according to election experts, that Republicans could take control of the House of Representatives next year. The Senate as well, potentially, but in either case, they'd still be working with the Democratic White House. What are bipartisan ways that you think both Democrats and Republicans could potentially get on board with fighting inflation before we get to a point where it might go out of control?
Well, I think the Fed is doing a strong job, a good job, and Jay Powell's leadership at the Federal Reserve is well equipped to tackle the issues of inflation. So I have confidence there. And Secretary Yellen has great experience as well, and I hope that we work with them in a bipartisan inflation under control. For next Congress, I think we can look back 10 years ago when we saw the passage of the Jobs Act with a Democrat Senate, Republican House, and a Democrat White House. Divided government actually forced us to compromise, to bring on the necessary work of legislating. And it's my hope that we can take that experience from 10 years ago and bring it to the needs of today. The job matching, that is a workforce development issue. It certainly deals with tax policy. It certainly deals with capital markets issues as well, so that we can link up capital with labor and make sure that folks that are working to build companies get the equity in those companies. We also need tax policy that encourages work. And we need to ensure that workforce development programs actually match the needs of today. Those things can be done in a bipartisan way.
And, looking at the overall impact that these different challenges facing the economy are having, over the past few months, we've seen some volatility in the stock market. We've seen cryptocurrency values go down quite a bit. And there's growing concern among, Americans, just average, Main Street folks and on Wall Street, that we could be in a deeper downturn in financial markets as the Fed continues to fight inflation and questions are raised about the strength of the economy. How concerned are you about the resilience of the financial system as the U.S. heads into these challenges?
I think a resilient financial system. We're the envy of the world. We need to ensure that global capital can find a safe haven here in the United States. The rule of law is abided by, that our system of government is respected. Those are the things that will bring capital here to the United States. And the resiliency of our market is built around it being an open market. In addition to that, I think that we need a well-regulated space for capital to come into the cryptocurrency or digital asset ecosystem. That means we have to have clarity under securities law. That means we have to have a well-regulated stablecoin regime. And we have to get on with the business of legislating in this realm to make sure that we can bring global capital here to develop Web 3.0. Digital assets are the foundation of the next generation of internet technology. So I think those are ways that we can bring resiliency and safety to our marketplace, and especially in this midst of quite a bit of turmoil in the capital markets and in the digital asset marketplace as well.
Now, Congressman, you were among the first members of the House to really start to seriously grapple with the rise of cryptocurrency and what it could do for the financial system. And looking ahead, if the House does flip to Republican control next year, you are in line to chair the Financial Services Committee. As you try to lead the process of developing a stablecoin or a cryptocurrency framework, what are the main principles you think Congress should follow when figuring out how to adapt or create new regulations to keep consumers safe but also help crypto thrive?
Well, the first step is a federal regime for stablecoins. Right now, we have left it to the marketplace to determine what is an alleged digital dollar. I think we have to have a well-regulated regime around something that purports to be a US dollar, and is incumbent upon the federal government to do that. And it's necessary for us to legislate here. I think that means you have to have high quality liquid assets backing stable coins. If you're gonna say that you're a US dollar, it needs to be backed by something that is very close to a US dollar. In addition to that, we have to acknowledge the work that states have put in. New York has a well-regulated stablecoin regime. It is the best in the United States. So I think we have to build off the work of the states. So that's part one, is a regulated stablecoin. Part two is defining a digital asset. What is neither a security nor a commodity? What is that separate space that is a distinct property called a digital asset built on an open, permissionless blockchain? Number three, we have to regulate the exchange of digital tokens or digital assets, and the mechanisms to exchange those things. And number four, we have to understand the consequences of central bank digital currency. That means we have to balance consumer protection and the needs of the American people with a very complex set of regulations necessary to balance our banking system and the needs of the American people.
Now, when it comes to crafting this cryptocurrency regime, obviously there's a bit of a learning curve for folks when it comes to cryptocurrency, where it fits into the financial system. How well do you think most of your colleagues in Congress understand cryptocurrency?
Well, look, we're all learning. And I think I've spent a lot of time around digital assets and cryptocurrencies, and every day I'm learning something new. And so we have a lot of policymakers that are wrapping their heads around the changing nature of this digital ecosystem. And I welcome that. I think it's a great thing that policymakers are grappling with this. And they're trying to keep up with their constituents. Federal Reserve had a stat release that something close to 15% of the American people have owned or exchanged or dealt with a digital asset last year. And so that is growing tremendously year over year, and policymakers are trying to keep up. I welcome it, and I think it's high time Congress gets their mind wrapped around it. Final thing I'll say here is this. This is a lot like the advent of the internet 30 years ago. Congress understood a little bit, but was very slow and very measured in how they legislated because they didn't want to be wrong and they knew it was the future. Likewise, digital assets are the future, and we don't want Congress to be wrong about this. So we would be quite measured about how we legislate here so that we can bring innovation here to the United States and allow innovation to be the driving force of the U.S. economy for decades to come.
Congressman Patrick McHenry, ranking member of the House Financial Services Committee, thank you so much for joining me today.
Great to be with you.